want to clear up some misconceptions maybe about annuities and fees, because you see that in the press a lot, don't you, Eric?
Oh, the conventional wisdom, everything you read, headlines, oh, annuities, fees, don't use them, they're so bad, nasty, nasty, nasty.
Now, there is some truth to high fees in
Yes.
annuities, so we don't want to say that there isn't any aspect of that that needs to be brought out.
Well, the analogy is you know throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
You know,
We don't want to do that.
If you're going to cast all annuities as being bad, then you're going to lose some good opportunities, because not all annuities, if you're fee driven, are bad.
Well, even the annuities that have the higher fees, in the right situation, if they're presented properly, they may fit certain situations.
Exactly. Usually you're exchanging a fee for some kind of service or some kind of piece that you're getting. So,
So you're either going to pay a higher fee, or perhaps you may earn a little less.
Yeah. And let's deal with the first flavor of what the kind of the highest, the typical highest feed annuity, which is the one that's most castigated about and written about, which is the variable annuity.
Right.
Now, variable annuities typically have higher fees.
Much higher fee.
And the reason is
they have more. Well, they have more upside potential.
Okay.
That's one aspect of a variable annuity. Yet the fee structure has to do with mortality, because they have a death benefit.
A lot of them have death benefit, and they also have mutual fund options. Basically,
yes, they do.
They're investment options.
Right.
So what you're doing is taking an annuity wrapper, so to speak, and wrapping it around a mutual fund options.
Right. And typically, Eric, when we have a mutual fund, just an average fee structure for a mutual fund is approximately what?
No, you're getting at least a half.
A half's minimal, pretty much.
And I'm not talking about the load expense that you're going to pay up front.
Right.
Your
ongoing
management
fee expense.
Between a half and usually a point and a half. So those fees exist in either world.
And I believe, according to some data on Morningstar, that they've kind of looked at the average, and the average mutual fund is somewhere around 1.15 now. It used to be 1.5 not very long ago, but it's right around 1.15. So you take 1.15 and say on a variable annuity, your mortality expense, your mortality and your expense ratio, M&E charges, you're looking at maybe an average of somewhere around maybe 1.5 or so. You put that with 1.15, now you're up to, you're pushing 3%.
Right. And then you start adding on the riders, and that's where the variable annuities get really expensive. But that's
the guarantee part of a variable annuity.
Exactly, and those are usually what most people are sold on when you buy a variable annuity.
Right.
You want that insurance on your investment.
Right. So if the investments are not really performing very well, obviously those fees are going to eat in pretty quick to the principal.
Right.
In addition, if you're taking money out, so the principal may be a little bit more at risk, but the income is not, or the potential for your heirs with a death benefit because of the rider on the variable annuity.
Right. So, but that's typically the one thing that we see out there when people are looking at fees. They're looking at that variable annuity.
Right.
And so you can have variable annuities as low as 0.25.
Right.
And as high as over 5% if you start adding on all those riders. So,
it really adds up fast.
So there's your high fee option. So if you're fee adverse and you're knowing that your principal's at risk and some other things with the variable, knowing how they work, you have to make the educated choice.
Right. Right. And then a lot of times, all annuities, as we started out saying, in the press you tend to see annuity, high fee. But there's a lot of annuities that have no fees.
Exactly. And when you look at fixed annuities and immediate annuities, there's no fees.
There's no fee. It's kind of known that you're not maybe going to earn as much, or have, when I say you're not going to earn as much, you don't have as much earning potential as you would have maybe in a variable annuity, where it can earn as high as the market goes.
Right. Yeah.
You may have a declared interest rate in a fixed annuity, or you may have an indexed option, which indexes to a popular, S&P or Dow Jones or something of that nature.
Right. And those are your low fee, no fee options. And people say, well, how do you get paid? How do those places make money if there are no fees? Well, it's the same way a CD at a bank.
Right.
The bank doesn't say, oh, I'm going to charge you a fee. I have to pay the salary of the guy that sold it to you. It's all factored into part of the price of doing business.
Right.
It's all built in to that expense. So what you're earning on that annuity is truly all basically earnings.
Right.
There's no fees that are taken out of those products.
Right, right. So I think that, you know, that's one thing that we just want to clarify, is that when you are buying an annuity, that there's some annuities that really virtually have no fees. They protect your principal. They maybe don't have as much upside potential. They're purchased for other reasons than just the potential of a high return. They're purchased for safety, for you know, a more secure retirement vehicle, and those are the ones that do not have fees.
Right. Now, when we talk about fixed annuities and we say there's no fees, there is, of course, the mystical hybrid annuity,
Right.
which is built off of a fixed annuity chassis in the
right.
sense of your principal is not at risk.
Right.
However, there are fees associated typically through the riders.
Yes, there are.
So that's one of the things when you look at a fixed annuity, you can't just throw the blanket over a fixed annuity and say none of them
There's
have
no
fees.
fees, right. There's some fees.
Because if you're going for that hybrid option, which has basically an income rider or a long-term care rider, if
Right.
you're adding a rider on, that's where you're potentially going to see fees.
Right. I do think that we have to add the caveat that the fees typically are very low on the indexed annuity.
Right.
Under 1% as a rule, and sometimes some of those riders actually come with no fee involved.
Right.
So we do want to make that clear.
Exactly. So it's understanding is if the rider that you're buying gets you further to what you're trying to accomplish
Right.
with either your savings plan or your retirement cash flow plan.
Right.
Those are the times you're willing to give up some of that upside, or you're willing to pay for that guarantee. And it's insurance on your money. It's
Right.
insurance on your
Right.
your retirement plan.
Right.
So,
When you know that you can potentially, by buying a rider, by paying a fee, you know, say it's 0.5% or, you know, 0.75%, something of that nature, but you know that you can guarantee that your income potential could double in 10 years of what you would have today just by buying that rider. That can be money very well spent.
well, you're putting a guarantee of your future income in the bank. It's really
Right.
you're banking on that retirement
Right.
dollar being there. You're buying an income stream. That's what those riders are designed for.
Yes.
They're designed for income, not for accumulation.
Right.
If you're designing them for accumulation, you're being sold a bag of goods, because that's not what
Right.
they're for.
Right.
They're
Right.
income riders
Well,
for
and
your
that's
future income.
exactly, exactly. Well, Eric, I don't know if we've cleared up everything on fees today.
Well, not necessarily everything. And I guess the one thing we should, before in closing,
Yes.
with the hybrid annuity,
Right.
there is one caveat that you always have to be careful when you're
Right.
working with your advisor. You want to ask, is the fee based off of the cash account or the accumulation account? Now, we're not going to explain that in this video because it would take us another 30 minutes, but it's something that...
But there's another part of that I want to, you know, give a little clarity to, and that is that the fee never comes out of the income account. So even though we haven't gotten into the detail of the income account and the cash accumulation account, we've done that in some other videos, that the fee always comes out of the cash account. So it reduces your cash value, but the income account has whatever the compounding amount is in there. Say if it's 8%, it's not deducted. There's nothing deducted. So now we've really...
Yeah, I was going to say, now that we've confused you,
you have to watch
time,
our next
perfect
video.
time to call your financial advisor or to give us a call.
Or give us a call.
Yeah. So, thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.